Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering the sun is smaller than Earth. Not dimmer, not farther away, smaller. A giant planet hanging in space, while the star that created everything suddenly looks tiny beside it. That sounds impossible, but the terrifying part is what happens next. Because the moment the sun shrinks below Earth's size, the entire solar system starts breaking the laws your brain expects. Gravity changes, time changes, survival changes, and Earth may not even stay in orbit. But that's not even the craziest part. Right now, the sun is so massive that you could fit 1.3 million Earths inside it. If the sun were the size of a basketball, Earth would shrink down to a sesame seed. That means our entire existence depends on a star so huge it controls over 99% of the solar system's mass. And yet, from Earth, it looks harmless, small, distant. That illusion hides a brutal truth. Everything alive on this planet exists because of an unbelievably fragile balance. The sun is close enough to keep Earth warm, but far enough away not to burn us alive. A little closer, we become Venus. A little farther, we become Mars. Life only exists because Earth sits inside a narrow, invisible strip called the habitable zone. And this is where it gets weird. Most people think shrinking the sun would simply make it cooler. Maybe redder, maybe weaker. But the universe doesn't work that way. In space, size isn't just appearance. Size controls identity. A star only becomes a star because something violent is happening inside its core. Thermonuclear fusion. Atoms smashing together under crushing pressure, releasing impossible amounts of energy every second. That fusion is the heartbeat of the solar system. And if the sun becomes too small, that heartbeat stops. Forever. But what happens to Earth after that is even more disturbing. Here's the terrifying question nobody asks. How small can a star actually become before it dies? Scientists discovered that tiny red dwarf stars can still survive even when they're much smaller than our sun, cooler, dimmer, longer lasting. At first, that sounds hopeful. Maybe a smaller sun could still keep Earth alive. But here's the strange part. There's a hard limit. Once a star drops below a certain mass, fusion completely collapses. No heat, no light, no energy. The smallest true stars we've found barely scrape past that limit. Anything smaller stops being a star at all. It becomes something cold, dark, dead. Now imagine our sun shrinking beneath Earth's size. Instantly, the pressure in its core disappears. Fusion shuts down. The blazing star that powered every sunrise in human history goes black. No sunlight, no warmth, no energy. And that's when things change. Because the sun doesn't just provide light. It provides gravity. That invisible force is the only reason Earth stays trapped in orbit instead of drifting into deep space. The moment the sun loses enough mass, its grip weakens. Planets begin wandering. Orbits destabilize. The solar system turns chaotic. Mercury escapes first, then Venus, then Earth. Our planet would slowly drift away from the dead sun into endless darkness. Imagine oceans freezing solid. Forests collapsing into ice. Entire cities buried beneath permanent winter. Within weeks, temperatures plunge beyond anything humans could survive. But that's still not the worst part. The sky itself would become horrifying. No sunrise. Ever again. Just a black void where the sun used to be. And somewhere in that darkness, Earth keeps floating farther away from everything familiar. No anchor. No direction. No rescue. But then scientists realize something even stranger. There's another way Earth could become larger than the sun. And somehow, it's even more dangerous. Let's restart the universe. This time, the sun stays exactly the same. Instead, Earth grows. At first, it sounds ridiculous. Just a bigger planet, right? Wrong. Because if Earth became larger than the sun, its mass would increase to something almost impossible to imagine. More than 333,000 times heavier than it is right now. And that changes everything. The deeper gravity crushes Earth inward. Pressure rises. Temperatures explode. The planet's core becomes hotter and denser until something unbelievable happens. Earth ignites. What happens next changes everything. Our planet would stop being a planet. It would become a star. Think about that for a second. The ground beneath your feet turning into a giant nuclear furnace brighter than the sky itself. Mountains vaporized. Oceans erased. Atmosphere gone. Humanity wouldn't even have time to understand what happened. But here's the truly mind-bending part. The solar system would suddenly contain two suns. Not one, two. A giant burning Earth orbiting beside the original sun like a cosmic twin. And this is where it gets weird. Binary star systems already exist across the universe. In fact, nearly a third of all star system scientists have discovered contain multiple stars orbiting each other. Some planets in those systems experience double sunrises, two shadows, two sunsets, skies glowing with impossible colors. It sounds beautiful, but surviving inside one is another story entirely. Gravity inside binary systems becomes wildly unpredictable. Planets can be ripped away, launched into empty space, or trapped in unstable orbits for millions of years. Some worlds survive, most don't. And if Earth transformed into a second sun, every nearby planet would feel the consequences instantly. Mars would heat up, Jupiter's moons could thaw, hidden oceans on icy worlds might suddenly wake up. Ironically, destroying Earth could create new opportunities for life somewhere else. But that raises a terrifying possibility. Was Earth ever truly special in the first place? The universe may not care about Earth at all. That's the unsettling realization hidden inside this entire scenario. Because when scientists study space, they keep finding systems that look completely alien compared to ours, yet somehow still work. Some planets orbit two stars at once. Others survive around dying stars. Some worlds shouldn't exist at all, and yet they do. But here's the strange part. Our solar system feels stable because human lives are short. We see calm skies and predictable seasons, so we assume the universe is permanent. It isn't. Stars are temporary. Planets are temporary. Even entire solar systems eventually collapse. Right now, the sun burns through around 600 million tons of hydrogen every second. Every sunrise on Earth is powered by a controlled explosion happening 150 million kilometers away. One day, that fuel runs out. Not tomorrow, not soon, but eventually. And that's when our peaceful yellow sun transforms into something terrifying. It swells outward into a giant red star large enough to consume Mercury, possibly Venus, maybe even Earth itself. So in a way, the nightmare already has a countdown. But that's not even the craziest part. Even after the sun dies, traces of our solar system could survive for billions of years. Frozen planets drifting around a dead stellar core. Ancient moons circling cold ruins. The universe leaves ghosts behind. And scientists think there may already be rogue planets wandering interstellar space with no star at all. Dark worlds floating endlessly through the void. Could life survive there somehow? Nobody knows. And this is where the story flips completely. Because maybe the real danger was never the sun becoming smaller than Earth. Maybe the danger is how unbelievably dependent we are on a single fragile star. One object, one source of heat, one cosmic accident keeping every human alive. Remove it, and everything disappears almost instantly. Now step back and picture the full scale of this nightmare. A universe where the sun shrinks smaller than Earth. Fusion dies. Gravity weakens. Planets scatter into darkness. Human civilization freezes beneath a dead sky. Or worse, Earth itself grows so massive that it ignites into a second sun, destroying the world while accidentally transforming the solar system into a binary star system. Either way, life on Earth loses. But strangely, the universe moves on. That's what makes this so unsettling. Space doesn't need Earth. It doesn't need humans. Stars explode every day. Galaxies collide. Entire worlds vanish without leaving evidence they ever existed. And yet somehow, against impossible odds, we're here. Balanced perfectly between freezing and burning. Protected by a star that appears ordinary, but secretly controls every second of human existence. And this is where it gets weird. The sun isn't even considered a particularly large star. Compared to giant blue stars elsewhere in the universe, our sun is average. Small even. Which means somewhere out there are solar systems built around stars, so huge they make our sun look tiny. What kind of worlds orbit those monsters? Could life exist there? Or would civilizations live under skies so violent they never survive long enough to ask questions? But here's the thought that lingers after all of this. If changing the size of just one object can completely rewrite reality itself, how many other invisible balances are keeping humanity alive right now without us even noticing? Gravity, distance, temperature, atmosphere, magnetic fields, every one of them balanced on a knife's edge. And if one tiny variable changes, everything we call normal disappears. So maybe the real question isn't what would happen if the sun were smaller than Earth. Maybe the real question is, how long can this perfect balance actually last?